Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the music documentary Echo in the Canyon. And this film kind of came out of nowhere for me personally. I didn't really hear much about this until I saw it listed as a film coming out at a local indie theater near me. And I looked at the description like, damn, this seems really cool and very much like me. Because I have a huge passion for music, along with a collection of other interests, but especially film. But I love music, and I love rock music, and most of the music that I listen to is decades before I was even born, or thought of. And this film talks about the music scene in Laurel Canyon outside of LA in the late 1960s. And this film really captures the spirit of the Byrds, the Beach Boys, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Young, and all of those, the Mamas and the Papas. And what I found most interesting about this film is it's not a straightforward documentary. There's layers to it. Because not only this film focuses on Jacob Dylan of the Wallflowers and also the son of Bob Dylan, which gives it an interesting perspective seeing as his father was the one that really influenced a lot of this, and seeing him, who's also a modern music artist, perspective. And what happens, he has these interviews with all these different musicians and artists, and you have the sit-down interviews. But then you also have inside the studio, and them bouncing ideas off of each other, and then rehearsals of Jacob Dylan and Beck and other artists who are covering these songs for a concert. And then it spends time talking about a particular song, and then you get to see it come alive in performance. And I feel like that's a really cool thing. So this documentary works on so many different levels. And it's also fascinating. Obviously, if this is your kind of music, this is your era, you're going to eat this up. And I really enjoyed it a lot. I think this is, and I've talked about this in other videos when I've reviewed documentaries. I've been watching a lot more documentaries over at least the past year. Before, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time watching documentaries, but the ones that I did watch were usually music documentaries. Honestly, my favorite documentary is Brush Beyond the Lighted Stage. And this really caught my attention. Echo in the Canyon's a great film. It works on so many different levels, and it's so invaluable as a music fan to be able to see Brian Wilson, David Crosby, Graham Nash, Stephen Stills, Ringo Starr was in it, and all of them like talking about all their influences and really seeing how this music was created in such an interesting and fruitful environment where it's like, hey, I live, like they had it was either Stephen Stills or David Crosby talking about how they lived across the street from Frank Zappa, and Frank Zappa would just walk out in the middle of the street and start spouting lyrics to songs and trying to get his opinion on things. And like they would just walk into each other's houses and do all these cool things. It was a fascinating story, and it was really well crafted. Jacob Dylan really does a great job of anchoring this documentary together, and I loved it. It was a great experience. I'd highly recommend it, and especially to those who love music, this is absolutely fascinating. So go out and see it, comment, let me know what you think, let's talk some movies, and thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland reviewer.